Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the House of Kayfabe, and we are here with our WrestleMania review. I am joined by Stephen P. New, Matt Mullins, Stephen Barker, and Adam Harris, and we are all here to say we were fucking wrong, guys. We were wrong about WrestleMania. Not necessarily predictions. I mean, some of us got our predictions right. Some of us were wrong, but it wasn't about predictions. The biggest prediction that we made was that WrestleMania was going to suck. And because it looked like it was going to suck on paper, this looked like a bad idea. However, didn't turn out that way, guys. I was pleasantly surprised. Adam Harris is our resident ring announcer, and he also keeps tallies of all kinds of information for us to go to. We can always count on Adam Harris to have the information right at his fingertips. And what I want to know is, where are we going first? We're going to review WrestleMania, and we're going to do 2 nights in one. There are some matches that are highly forgettable. Yes, there are, but it's the magic moments that happen that really make this Mania stand out. Adam Harris, where do we start?
Well, the tag match the tag match for the SmackDown Championships is what opens the show. Not a whole lot of memorable or unpredictable things in that match. I don't know if you guys had any highlights from that.
It was a good match. It was a match. It was a fine curtain jerker. There was nothing wrong with it, nothing bad with it.
It was fun. And always, it's always fun to see the Usos.
Dominating. Part Absolutely. Of the bloodline. Drew McIntyre defeated Happy Corbin along with Madcap Moss by pinfall in 8 minutes and 35 seconds.
I do believe this match turned out as uneventful as Stephen P. New said it would.
Yeah, and I did like the sword cutting the ring ropes.
That was actually
that told me that's a legit sword that can cut through 2 strands of ring ropes.
You think it was supposed to cut through all 3?
I think that whatever it was, it just, but I thought that was cool.
It was a cool visual. Next match.
The Miz and Logan Paul, whose outfits we got to talk about, defeated Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio by pinfall.
Yes,
11 minutes.
This was interesting. I thought Logan Paul really impressed me with the time he spent to be able to pull this off. I always enjoy, I was never a Bad Bunny fan, and Bad Bunny put in the work to actually have something entertaining in the ring, and I respected that. I respected even more from Logan Paul, because I feel like we got even more from Logan Paul. What did you guys think?
I think it was one of the best matches of it would have, if it was on the second night, it would have been like one of the best matches of the second night, because first night was near perfect. What that is proof, and if Brother Derek was here, he would probably agree with me. Actually, I know he would. He's proof that there is no better athletic base to start from than amateur wrestling. And both Paul brothers were both pretty high-level, high school amateur wrestlers. And if you can do the kind of training that those people do, which is even more intensive than football practice and even like football training, you have a base to do anything on a level. And we could talk about how great his wrestling was, which was great, but you know what he had? Real before kayfabe heat, because people fucking hate the Pauls, and they know that, and they use it in their brand. Stephen P. New, you are the only other one in the house that's old enough to remember when wrestling was real. That was true. When he did the Three Amigos and the shoulder shimmy and the frog splash, those people fucking hated him for real. They weren't in AEW playing along with the little fucking play that they're doing. They hate you. They want to blast out all the windows in your fucking Escalade. It's wonderful to see.
I watched the pre-show, and the other Paul brother was on the pre-show, and the crowd outside the stadium booed him, and he ate it. They were booing him vehemently at a pre-show.
Real true heat.
Loved it.
That dude, MJF ain't got that kind of heat. Because MJF, even his heat is like we're playing it. We're with AW, the marks think that they're playing along with the same game. This is real. We fucking hate you in real. We hate that our kids watch you. We fucking hate that our kids idolize you. We want you to go away.
You make a lot of money on YouTube.
Hundreds of millions. Crypto millionaires.
A couple things that I want to say. The Pokemon card necklace, pure genius.
Yes.
Pure genius.
Yeah, let me chime in here because this isn't on Wikipedia. It's a Japanese Pikachu illustrator card from the 1998 graded Gem Mint 10 by PSA.
Worth how much?
In between 4 and 6 million, according to the New York Post.
Okay, my point made. Because any ninny who would pay between $4 and $6 million for a Pikachu card. Anyway, the other part of it, and I never dreamed that I would say this. That was the best Dominic Mysterio match I have seen. I thought that Paul, Miz, and his dad all carried him, but I also thought that for the first time seeing Dominic Mysterio, and you guys know how much I don't like that kid, I thought he actually held up his end of the log in a tag team match with his dad.
I was talking about the exact same thing during this match. I've always disliked Dominic, just like you. I really think he should have made his way through NXT. I don't think he should have been shoved down our throats. I don't believe he should have got victories over the people he's gotten victories over. I've 100% been against him, but at WrestleMania, watching him perform, I was like, this kid has actually gotten good. I mean, he actually can work now, and he can entertain. It was an interesting realization for me that I was maybe a little too hard on a brand new Dominic because he's actually showing that he's got some talent.
Oh no, I believe everything that you just said, and I believe that he had not paid his dues when during the pandemic he was being forced down our throats in the eye for an eye match and that kind of crap. But I think he's finally come of age a little bit.
I think too that you gotta give big credit to the Miz. I mean, that same white heat that Barker's talking about. I mean, the Miz is just so hateable.
He's so hateable.
So hateable, but he also can fucking work. And I mean, he's selling and working, and
absolutely,
he's got the crowd. I mean, rabid at certain points. Like, and that's what big credit to the Miz.
Hey, if he can make Logan Paul into a face, he's a goddamn genius. He's a wrestling genius.
Speaking of genius, of course, we've seen the heel turn at the end. That had to have been his idea, to get involved in an angle where he gets to actually fight Logan Paul, puts him into a stratosphere he's not used to even being in. This is a big deal for Miz. This whole thing is going to turn out to be a good thing. Adam Harris, next match, where do we go?
From there, it's to the women's division. Bianca Belair defeats Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. 19 minutes on this one.
Great match. Great match.
It was a great match.
It was a brawler. It was like a very rare women's match brawl, like almost like a Stone Cold Steve Austin brawl. Because you think of Becky Lynch is just a pure wrestler. She's trained by Finn Balor, and Bianca Belair is just this mega athlete. And man, it was like a brawl, like a good brawl, not like an AEW girls mess. This was a fucking good brawl.
I have to bring up the fact that once again, my head has been turned around because I've never been the biggest Becky Lynch fan, but I found myself cheering for Becky Lynch this entire match. Big Time Bex has really that's by far my favorite version of Becky Lynch is Big Time Bex. I was totally wanting her to win that match. And
can I just say something? Becky Lynch, with that 80s missing persons eye makeup and that outfit on.
Good reference.
Hubba. Oh my God. It was 1985 again. and I was all about it.
And we just did a Stephen New boner.
Holy shit! We now know what years
Boner P. New.
We now know what when Stephen P. New graduated high school, or the era at least. Missing persons? Holy shit, Matt Mullins! Did you think you were going to hear about the missing persons?
All right, Adam Harris, where do we go from here?
From here, the big moment, what we've all been waiting for, and I honestly, God, did not think it was going to happen. But everybody saw Cody Rhodes make his return and face Seth freaking Rollins.
I watched this probably 35 times.
I've watched it twice.
Man, I watched it so many times. And one of the things that really got me was when you hear, wrestling has more than one royal family, and the pop in that arena. Everything was just deafening. Like all I could hear was Steven Barker is the wrongest motherfucker.
I cleaned that shit up in the fucking chat when that happened, because you weren't active in the chat.
Where none of the listeners have any type of view whatsoever. All they did was hear you talk about how Cody Rhodes wasn't a draw and nobody knows who the fuck he is.
Mid-Carter, I think, is the words you use.
Yeah, let's ease up now. He might still be in if I've watched all these AEW memes, he may still end up in the fucking mid-card. He may still be fighting fucking Happy Gilmore there in the second match, guys. Let's ease up.
One of my favorite things to say to my beloved friend Steven Barker is time will tell. Yeah. All right. And so time may still tease this all out, but for that night, and when Derek called it, and we were going over this with Derek's prediction of would that happen, Derek said, and this is why he's the genius, not Lanny Poffo, Derek Jones of the House of Kayfabe is the wrestling genius. Derek said the way to make this happen is for everything to be dark, and you hear that line, wrestling has more than one royal family. And daggone if that's not the exact same way that WWE did it. I have one more comment, and then I'll turn the floor over to Matt Mullins. How lovely was this match with no 1 month or 2 month or 3 month build up to it? It was just a match that just got added to the card the week before. There wasn't a bunch of trash talking or anything going on back and forth, and they put on clinic of a wrestling. It looked like an old school wrestling match between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. It's absolutely wonderful.
By far, it was my favorite match of the entire weekend, including ROH Super Card of Honor. It was my favorite match of the entire weekend.
Matt, I don't know if it was you that said this or maybe Barker. That's my favorite match of the last decade.
Yeah,
go ahead, Matt, and I'll go after you.
It was an exceptional match. I was really excited to have Cody Rhodes there, and I think that I've come to the realization that Cody Rhodes is literally in my top 10. I really believe he is. Matt Mullins, what did you think about Cody Rhodes coming back?
I was upset that we didn't get Goldberg, but I wanted your head to explode. But
I know, I wanted that too.
Can you imagine how red my face would be while I'm yelling about Goldberg right now if that would have happened?
I can.
I'm so glad it didn't.
I can, because we have that video on our channel.
Well, luckily for us, Goldberg did not come to WrestleMania, and I am not suffering from a stroke.
Cody was great. Giving the belt away was his weight belt away. It was awesome. A la Bret Hart with the glasses. What a moment for the kid. It was actually right beside Tracy Myers, who runs WrestleCade. Mm-hmm. That was great to see Tracy Myers right when Cody comes to the ring and gives
no
the belt.
way.
I didn't see
that.
Tracy Myers' head was all over WrestleMania. Like, he is in so many different moments. I've seen a Cody Rhodes moment, and literally the only face you can pick out of the crowd is Tracy Myers. He's all over.
That's awesome.
Love him.
Big love to Tracy. That's awesome that they got to experience that. Cody, 10 of 10. I was satiated. I was happy.
Okay, Barker, let's hear your opinion on Cody Rhodes now that you've been proven completely 100% wrong about the man and his legacy and how much support he actually has.
Hey, look, I am the most consistent motherfuckers that you know. If you go back to the beginning of and also if you are like what we're doing, we're new to YouTube. If you go to your favorite podcast provider, we have a plethora of back audio only podcasts. And if you go back during the salad days of AEW, when it was the shits, the worst, I have on many occasions talked about that Cody Rhodes was the one shining spot during all of that. And I stood behind all that stuff. But then that goddamn reality show, which was a cringy shit fest, and his stupid, insufferable wife, and him trying to delete racism by trying to beat up a British black guy. and then the worst was that stupid flaming table bump where he took the complete bump, but it was the finisher for the other guy, which was one of the worst things you've ever seen in wrestling. I wrote this guy off because I was like, oh, this guy's gone off the rails. You know, what he is proof that you probably need some writers and some real bookers, because the guy can deliver when he doesn't have a methed out billionaire in the back, you know, saying like, oh, table, cure racism. Like, dude, this was the best match I've seen since Kota Ibushi and Shinsuke Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom. If Derek was here, he would tell you the exact fucking date and the time that the bell rang. I haven't smoked a cigarette since October 1st of 2020, and I wanted a cigarette after that match. That match is everything that you love about wrestling. Like, dude, I get chills talking about it. That's how good that match was. And it was fucking Cody Rhodes who was on that stupid reality show. Like, he destroyed his legacy in AEW with that, because even people in AEW didn't want to be on there. If you notice, like when Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were like in the background, that their faces were fuzzed out, they didn't want to be on that goddamn thing. And if it's so bad that the Young Bucks don't want nothing to do with it, it's pretty fucking bad. But man, if Cody Rhodes can keep this up and not, you know, have to wrestle Madcap Moss in the second match of fucking, you know, whatever the next pay-per-view is, he's got a chance, man. He's got a chance. That tattoo's terrible. It needs to go. But man, that is everything that's good about wrestling is in that match. It's wonderful. 10 out of 10.
Adam Harris, what were your thoughts when you seen Cody Rhodes?
Well, this is the point where I chime in and say I still haven't even watched all of WrestleMania, and I think that's why I'm good as the MC throughout all this. But we're coming up on the part where I actually tuned in. I was doing the shoot job, traveling.
You didn't watch Cody Rhodes? Is that what you're telling me? You didn't?
I didn't see it. I've seen the highlights, of course.
Could you not have just faked it for the House of Kayfabe?
It was amazing. 10 out of 10. We saw the bionic elbow, baby. I mean, what else?
Dude, Stephen P. knew. I teared up when he did the fucking Dusty Rhodes shit, and I tried to make sure the waifu didn't see it. I was like, I don't want my waifu to see it. I want her to be able to still want to fuck me later. Like, I
had 5 friends sitting here with me, and they all know that Dusty Rhodes is my favorite wrestler of all time. And what an homage to his father. It was fantastic.
Teared up, son. Teared up. Big Dust.
I know.
Big Dusty.
Tremendous.
Little flip, flop, and fly, baby.
All right, so you were talking about how Derek could spit off times. I hear, now I haven't tested this theory, but I hear that somehow they timed this out so that Stone Cold showed up on WrestleMania at 3 hours and 16 minutes.
Whoa. No, stop it.
That's what I'm being told.
Yes.
Stop it.
I haven't put it to the test, but I did see a video online.
Screen captures. Yes, there are screen caps.
There are
where he enters at 3 minutes 16.
Oh,
3 hours and 16 minutes. Stone Cold Steve Austin shows up. Of course, we're talking about the KO show, and Steve Austin was a special guest. And you know what? I hate to say it. This is an episode that I say things that I shouldn't have to say, but Meltzer was right.
I was right.
Well, Meltzer was right because he's the one that called this a match, and everybody was like, it's not a match. Meltzer's always full of shit. It's just a KO show. Turns out Meltzer was right about that and Cody Rhodes. And everybody has to eat shit on this one. And you gotta say Meltzer actually told the truth. He tried to spoil WrestleMania, and none of us would listen. Barker, you were also correct on this.
Everybody else thought it was going to be, and I can see why, because if you watch Stone Cold Steve Austin walk, you can see that maybe he's not ready for a match. You know what I'm saying? But you all thought it was just going to be, a kick-ass fest, drink beer, go home. And like I said, man, you got to look for the little clues. He had been getting swole, and he never took his shirt off for some reason, because he's obviously, like I said, I watched him on like the Rich Eisen show, and he was noticeably bigger since like the last 6 months or whatever, and that's why told me this man is doing a match. It makes complete sense. 19 years since the last time in the same town, and he lost his last one was him passing the torch to The Rock, right? And he needed to get that one in. Now, was a little heartbreaking to watch him stomp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That four-wheeler wasn't a gimmick. That four-wheeler was necessary to get him to the ring. You know what I mean? That guy, but he was able to still do it, and we didn't feel bad about it. You know what I mean? Like, we had to go watch George South at like 65 have a garbage shit match with Steve Carino's son, and it was sad. This wasn't sad. This was joyful.
It was the coolest thing I ever seen George South.
All right, we're not relitigating that, but did any of us believe that Stone Cold would have a 19-minute match?
I did not think it would go 19.
Well, I tell you what,
I didn't think it was going to be a match at all. I thought it was going to be the KO show. Owens gets stunned. He does a couple of Steve Weisers, and that's it.
when he pulled in the four-wheel, he brings the four-wheeler down, he turns it around and gets it going the other way. I was like, oh, Stone Cold's out of here in just a few minutes. He's already pulled the four-wheeler around. He's going to stun KO and get the fuck out of Dodge. That's what I thought he was going to do.
That's what I thought too.
But man, I was so impressed by what Stone Cold brought. I mean, he did that for us. Like, he didn't, you know what I mean? Like, he did that for us. He came out there and was like, you know what? I haven't wrestled in 19 years. My back hurts, my neck hurts, and my knees hurt, but fuck it. I'm going to have a 19-minute match as the main event of WrestleMania. And I'm not even going to show up at Raw ever to promote it.
Dude, big ups to KO making him look so good. Kevin Owens is a fucking beast of a wrestler, man. I don't care what God Emperor Cornette says about him. I think he's fucking amazing. And dude, he's got to be handpicked. Stone Cold ain't going to do shit that he don't want to do. He picked him. He could have picked anybody, but he picked fucking Kevin Owens.
I don't like Kevin Owens. I don't like his shape. I don't like his character, his gimmick. He's looked at 8 months pregnant for 20 years. But, yeah, you're exactly right, though, Barker. There's a reason why Stone Cold, that guy, to have this match with at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He trusted that guy.
Taking the bump on the concrete.
I don't like to see it.
I don't like to see it. Hate to see it.
Hate to
I
see
didn't want to see it either, but
I just want to say that I don't think Austin would have gotten the stunner. He wouldn't be using the stunner every day if Austin hadn't already blessed him. Mm-hmm. I think Austin's been a KO fan for quite some time.
I agree.
This is the ultimate christening.
Well, he was on a very old podcast, one before Stone Cold's podcast even made it to the network, back when it was independent. When Kevin Owens first came to WWE, he was on there, and if you ever watch that, they work him about El Generico, because Stone Cold's like, oh yeah, you got this El Generico guy. He's like, and Sammy's in NXT at the time. He's like, oh yeah, El Generico, he's gone. He's retired, and like worked Stone Cold in the podcast.
Nice. We need to back up a step though, boys. We skipped Flair and Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship, which went 18 and a half minutes.
You know what? Something I'd like to talk about with this one is the fact that Rousey got upset and stormed out of the Hall of Fame when she found out she was not going on last. And I'm sitting here thinking, did anyone tell her what was going on last? Because if they did, it seems like she would have understood right out the gate, hey, Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to wrestle his first match in 19 years.
Now, listen, that's BS internet wrestling journalism, wrestler. And we're better than that in the House of Kayfabe.
Mark.
I agree.
What Rousey has said was that she had a baby that had hard bedtime that had need to be nursed and put down to bed. And as a father of a daughter who used to get to 8:30 p.m. and then absolutely lose her friggin' mind regardless of where Amy and I were with her, I can sympathize with that, because I would not have wanted to have been at the WWE Hall of Fame with Rebecca New when 8:30 p.m. hit. So
interesting. Okay, well, so there's always another perspective. Either way, this match was pretty good. What did you guys think?
Little pitchy, dog. It was a little. It's as good as it can be with Ronda, because like what Derek said, she's not good at this, and she don't want to be good at this. But they had to put her in with the greatest female wrestler of all time, and she is the Ric Flair or the Shawn Michaels of in-ring performing, and she got some stuff out of her. But man, there was some AEW women match moments in this. You know, her timing is bad. You know, her punches are terrible. If you've ever watched UFC's, bitch can't punch to save her life.
Something that you just said reminded me of one thing that you were right about.
When you said, I'm right about a lot.
About Cody Rhodes specifically. Oh. If we go back, you did say, what is Cody Rhodes just going to come to WrestleMania to botch his moonsault?
No, that was Derek with Charlotte. I didn't say that. He doesn't do a moonsault, does he?
Oh, yeah, and he botched it at WrestleMania.
Oh, did he?
He did.
Oh no, I didn't know he does a moonsault. No, because Derek every time, because for some reason Derek is not a women's wrestling fan in general, and he always bitches. If you bring up anything about Charlotte Flair, he brings up the fact that she botches that. That was him.
So and that's that moonsault at WrestleMania. Did anyone see her botch the moonsault? Because I know she did it. I thought she did it pretty well.
She tried to do the double moonsault where she lands and then flips again, but something messed up there. I don't know if that was Rousey or Charlotte, but it didn't look good. And as probably the biggest resident Charlotte Flair fan in the House of Kayfabe, it was not her best effort overall, but not her best results, I should say. I mean, for a match, bell to bell, I was excited because I had just finally been able to tune in. And so it didn't feel like 18 minutes to me. Like I was just amped up because I was finally watching some WrestleMania, and I tuned in time to see my favorite wrestler. So it was a great match to me, and I'll always remember that. But it was pitchy dog, as my friend Parker said.
It was as good as it could be. It's as good as you can get out of Ronda Rousey.
That's the best way to say it right there. That was as good a Ronda Rousey match. That was as good a one-on-one Ronda Rousey match as you were going to see. And there's a reason why a lot of times you have Ronda Rousey in three ways.
And dude, that WrestleMania that everybody made a big fucking deal about because, we had the proper chromosome in the fucking main event of WrestleMania was one of the worst WrestleMania main events ever. It was a botch fest, and you had Becky and Charlotte in there, and it was a mess. It was so bad.
Well, I'll just say one more thing, and I definitely want to hear what Matt has to say. But, we talked about the Dominic Mysterio match earlier and how good that was. They've had time to work on it. And I think the women have not always taken the time to work on this. I know nothing about behind the scenes or anything, but I feel like it's much more down to the minute planning, and they haven't, I hate to say it, rehearsed. They don't know how things are going to work together, sorry, kayfabe. But I feel like that shows. It was a perfect example in that triple threat match at Mania a couple years ago, and probably a good example of this one this year.
One thing that really stands out to me is the fact that Ronda Rousey lost, and I thought for sure she was going to win. I don't know about you guys, but I thought that it just made financial sense for Ronda Rousey to win this so that she can keep it for her final dates and then lose it at the end of a run of some sort.
And so Charlotte can win it again, right?
Charlotte can win it again. But
I swapped on the women's matches. I thought Becky was for sure going to retain, and I thought Charlotte was going to drop the belt to Rousey, but I was wrong on both.
Both accounts. All right, so now we go into night two, the first match of night two. Adam Harris, take us there.
RK Bro, who is way more over than Steve Barker ever gave them credit for being, versus the Street Profits and Alpha Academy in a triple threat for the Raw Tag Team match, Tag Team Championships at 11 minutes and 30 seconds. RK Bro goes over.
It was pretty good.
The tag belts are open and jerking the curtain both nights.
Yeah, but that's an important spot in WrestleMania. That's not like Kurt. That's not jerking the curtain at Madison Square Garden in Boone County.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's a better spot than the Intercontinental Championship or the United
U.S.
States.
title.
Great point. Yeah, great point. Because that's oh wait, I don't see it.
Yeah, it wasn't there. Man, I fucking dude. Randy Orange is fucking. I'm a fan with him. I've never liked him. I've always thought that he was just a collar beige who could wrestle good, and that's fine. But like, he has no personality other than the guy who talks real slow and monotone. But man, with RK Bro, dude, he looks like he's having fun, and he always looked like a miserable asshole for the last 15 years of his life. He's got to be one of the most miserable millionaires in the history of being a millionaire. And man, RK Bro's awesome. Chad Gable is awesome. Otis is awesome.
Gable was killer.
It's a
Chad
great
Gable
match.
looks like $10 million, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
does. He looks like Kurt Angle in '96.
Yeah, he does. Like a mini Kurt Angle.
So the standout moment.
Thank you.
It's getting over. It's getting over.
And dude,
wait.
Brian
Thank you.
Brian Resner fucking thinks the RK Bro is the worst, and he's the biggest probably Randy Orange fan in the fucking house. And dude, people love him. People love him.
The reason why I dislike RK Bro is because I like Randy Orton so much. That's exactly why.
Look, man, everybody loves the stoner guy. Everybody loves the stoner dude. And the stoner guy who can also kick your ass is awesome. Everybody wants one of those people in their fucking friend circle.
Mullins, what did you think of this match as far as yet another tag match, triple threat tag match to open night 2?
I think that it was an okay curtain jerk match, even at WrestleMania. I mean, you got to put your tag belts on the line, but I'm not invested in any of those teams. I mean, the Street Profits,
Gotcha.
I want to like more than I do. But again, I mean, Montez Ford is the standout star to me in that match. I think he can break away and be a single star sooner than later. I was ready for that match to be over still. And I think Chad Gable looks great. I think it was okay, but I'm not a huge if you're going to have Matt Riddle in a tag team, bring RVD back. Call him Cypress Hill. Let's get it over.
Cheech and Chong 2.0.
The big thing here is Gable Steveson. We see Gable Steveson at the end there, and Chad Gable gets up in his face, slaps his cup out of his hand. I really like this starting out with Chad Gable.
He's going to have to work on that physique, son.
He didn't look great.
You can tell he's in the off season. he's not in training. But man, that's the thing about amateur wrestlers like Rulon Gardner, who's probably maybe the best heavyweight American that we've ever had. Dude, he looks like a fat diesel mechanic. Like sometimes, like you don't need to look like a mega athlete. Like, dude, did you think Bam Bam Bigelow could do a fucking cartwheel? You know what I mean? But he's got to work on that look a little bit. He's got good tattoos, but that's. I
did like him saying to Gable, "There's only one real Gable" or whatever.
Yeah,
that's going to be an issue. You know how WWE is. You can't have two Shanes. Hurricane Helms had to change his name because you can't have two Shanes.
They renamed Bronson Rex Steiner, and they're leaving Gable Steveson with his. They'll have Shorty G back. No
That's what I was going to say. They're going to. He's going to be back to Shorty G.
Shorty G.
All right. So what's the next match, Adam Harris?
Oh man, our universal favorite in the House of Kayfabe, Omos, was defeated by Bobby Lashley.
You know what? They kind of went with the House of Kayfabe's thoughts. We wanted to see Bobby Lashley win this match because it's the only way it made sense to us. You can't feed Bobby Lashley to this guy just to put him over. Now, they kind of changed it up on Raw when we seen MVP turn on Bobby. I was not expecting that, and not in a good way. It wasn't like it surprised me in a good way. It was like, oh, they went that way.
I kind of knew this was coming, man. I thought it was coming. As soon as I saw MVP out, and I was like, he wasn't at WrestleMania, and they made a big deal. Like, last night, Bobby Lashley did it without MVP, in his corner. I knew something was up, and I'm predicting, man, I want to say it on the record if I haven't already. MVP is going to have a comeback, man. He's been in the gym. He's recently rehabilitated. I could see it, man. The right match, MVP comes back. I could see it being big money, man.
Boys, MVP is great on the stick. Like, you put MVP in against Paul Heyman, it's magic. Magic.
I have a question. Do you or could you form the Hurt Business around MVP, almost maybe bring Cedric and Shelton Benjamin back? Can you reformulate the Hurt Business with MVP claiming it and saying, Bobby Lashley, the Hurt Business was never yours and it was never about you. It was always mine and was always about me, and now I've got these guys flanking me.
I think it's the only way that almost gets over. I think that he can't.
I agree, man.
Can't speak. You have to have MVP. I mean, you have to have a mouthpiece for him, and why not MVP? So that makes perfect sense to me with bringing the Hurt Business back, because we need Cedric and Shelton in a bigger picture because they're two of the best on the fucking roster.
Can we get somebody to train this big Goliath oaf? Because he almost killed Bobby Lashley with like some sort of like a buckle bomby looking thing, and Bobby's head went all the way back and hit the fucking ring post. That could have went a lot worse. That guy's fucking dangerous. Fuck that dude. I was pissed.
Bobby Lashley's head bounced off the back of the top of a ring post. You know what you do with almost? You put him in the big. You put him in the big Bubba Rogers role with the Midnight Express. Ray Traylor learned how to wrestle because he was around Bobby Eaton and Jim Cornette, and Jim Cornette spoke for him, and Bobby Eaton taught him how to wrestle, and he was green as grass and hurt people, including Cornette when he first got started.
Are we talking about the same guy who used to tag with AJ Styles?
Big Boss?
Oh, wow. No, he just proved it.
He was on the road with AJ for a while. And AJ can't...
He didn't get through.
Omosis didn't happen there.
Well, Omosis, that was a good one. See, it was smart here on the House of Kayfabe, folks. Listen, we're smart. Adam Harris is a smart boy, in addition to being the GOAT announcer.
Well, because AJ Styles did not teach him to throw Bobby Lashley's head into the fucking ring post.
He did not get that from one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Dude, I was thinking like Goldberg, Bret Hart shit. I was like, man, he just cracked this motherfucker's skull.
So my take on what you just said, Stephen P. New, is I think that I am 100% with that if MVP makes a comeback like you had said. So if MVP makes an actual comeback and almost is like his muscle for him versus Bobby Lashley, then I can really get behind it.
It's got to happen.
He's the heater. I think that's the only way it can happen.
Yep.
And I want to see, imagine that buildup of MVP versus Lashley. That's great. You can build that for an entire year.
All right. I just want everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel so I can be proven right when we talk about this again when it happens.
All right. Adam Harris, where are we going next?
Johnny Knoxville.
Dude, we're going back to 2005.
Sami Zayn. Oh, I'm in my dorm room. I'm watching people get pushed down the hills in shopping carts again. Yeah, anything goes match.
I kept waiting for like an episode of Road Rules Road Challenge like afterwards. Real World Road Challenge.
I have an interesting story for this because I had a party at my house for WrestleMania. And of course, the friends that I have in Florida, not all of them are wrestling fans, but I guess that they're fans of beer and hot wings. So they came to my WrestleMania party. So I've seen a lot of different.
Nothing wrong with that.
A lot of different reactions from non-fans. And I will tell you, one of the things that stood out to me was the fact that that we had the Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio. They really popped over Rey Mysterio, and it reminded me that people would still like Rey Mysterio, even though I don't. I realize that there are people out there that have never been exposed to him that are like, wow, this guy's amazing. And I'm like, wow, this guy was amazing. But with this match, not only the people that were in my house, but also the people I seen online, everyone was reacting to this like this was great. I heard so many people talk about how entertaining this was, how awesome this was. And I got to be perfectly honest with you guys. I fucking hated every second of it. I wanted it to end before it even started. I wish this match should have been removed and it should have been Finn Balor versus Ricochet. That's what we should have seen in this spot. However, we did not see that. We seen Johnny Knoxville and everyone seemed to enjoy it. I hated it. Matt Mullins, where did you stand on this match?
So coming from a long-time Johnny Knoxville mark.
For real?
Listen to this. In fact, in the year 2003, Mr. Brian Resner, I believe it was 2003, Mr. Brian Resner ran a bar in Beckley, West Virginia. It was a Halloween party. I dressed up. I was a much less beardless man with more hair and more debonair looks. I dressed up as Johnny Knoxville. I took home the gold in the costume contest.
This is true.
I did not. I've known you for so long. I didn't know this.
This is a new one on me too.
We need some pictures of that.
Picture it didn't happen.
And you know what? We're gonna do pictures of your Halloween costumes
here.
I was going to say if we're doing Halloween costume pictures, Matt Mullins has got some serious wrestling Halloween costumes.
That's true.
That would blow your mind.
So did you love this match, Mullins? Did you love it being a Johnny Knoxville mark?
Here's the thing. I think that a lot of time went into the thought process of the gimmicks. None of them worked good. not fucking one of them. The foot lever was a fucking bust. I mean, there was just some real clunkers in this motherfucker.
All over it.
All over. I think that Knoxville is a superstar, and I think that his star power was great, just for what you said. Non-wrestling fans see Johnny Knoxville, love him. But, man, it was rough. I wanted Hornswoggle to come out and get Wee Man was my
that'd have been so good.
But I mean, overall, man, it just didn't hit home with me, and I love Knoxville.
All right, Barker, what did you think of this match? You were one of those people that said it was entertaining.
I said, quote, it was more entertaining than it had any right to be. Now, as I was watching it, of course, we know that I am the biggest Jim Cornette fan in the House of Kayfabe, and I will fight anyone for that title. I mean, dude, you can't get paid by him and still say that you're just like an earnest fan. Fuck off. Like, I love him, and I don't get a dime. I was worried that he was going to die. I thought he was going to have a fucking heart attack while he was watching this. And I specifically didn't watch or listen to anybody's takes on WrestleMania, so I could come in here clean. But I did listen to Jim Cornette's. And everything that he said is true, but it was entertaining. My waifu, who's not a wrestling fan, thought it was kind of funny. You know what I mean? It got the non-wrestling fan. It was, dude, Party Boy was there and he's half naked again. He was partying. You know what I mean? You don't remember that?
I would have rather seen Goldberg show up.
You would rather see Goldberg than
I would have rather seen Goldberg show up and
ladies and gentlemen, it is April 6, 2022 at 10:59 p.m. and Resner just asked for Goldberg in place of something else. I have one comment. Jackass match. This is the very kind of thing Sami Zayn can work. I'm surprised that Knoxville did what he did in this match. Why wasn't this on Friday Night SmackDown? This was a perfect SmackDown match, and for all those reasons that Resner said, and the non-wrestling fans who get Fox could watch Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn on
but
SmackDown.
Those non-wrestling fans aren't watching SmackDown. They're at Brian's house having wings of beer and watching it at WrestleMania.
If Fox pushes that for a week or two, then maybe they get some more eyes on that match from non-wrestling fans. That's my only comment.
Let me play devil's advocate. The thing is, this has been a long-ass run-up. Hasn't this been running since
the Royal
Rumble?
Sure.
And they had all these crossovers where he showed up on the red carpet and TMZ was there. This is probably the most in-depth run-up of anything besides the main event of the whole.
It's true.
Dude, almost, and Bobby Lashley got booked the night before, or 2 nights before. Right. This shit has been going for a while. It's the most in-depth build-up of the whole fucking WrestleMania.
Okay, did you see our buddy Gary Damron posted a picture of Sami Zayn, and he said, since when did Sami Zayn steal the Cuban Assassin's gimmick?
Right. He said, good to see my friend the Cuban Assassin made WrestleMania.
Which shows how much modern wrestling Gary Damron watches, because Sami Zayn's been rocking that for a few years now.
Exactly.
Did you all see the best? Like, maybe that match needed to exist for this one meme where it said it's where Mark Henry's and
Mae Young's
hand grew up to be in WrestleMania. So if it existed for that one meme, it has served a purpose.
And even Mizark said, "I'm still making WrestleMania magic" or something like that on social media.
See, that makes it all worth it to me. Like
he retweeted that meme, Steve.
Way more time on this than I wanted to talk. Adam Harris, where are we going next?
Well, we don't have to spend long on this one. It was obviously placed in the card as a breather match, the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Naomi and Sasha bring home the belts over Carmella, Queen Zelina, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler. This did not go the way I thought it was going to go.
So Brian Resner just wants to talk about ring attire. Brian, what was your favorite ring attire of everyone that came to that match?
Definitely Liv and Rhea Ripley all day long. That was great ring attire. Not sure who designed that, but they deserve an award. In fact, now
I think it was RedTube.com or something. Sponsor.
Sponsored by the Lions Den off of Exit 9.
Yeah, dude, those wrestling outfits is a whole subgenre of pornography.
I saw this meme that said that parents are having to explain a whole lot to their children based on that entrance alone.
Okay, so, you guys already pulled out all the good shit from this match already in this conversation. So let's just move on to the next match.
Can we just say one thing really quick? Man, poor Sasha. That poor girl. She's stuck in that. She had to wrestle Carmella. She's a fucking main eventer, man. I feel bad for her.
I agree. The same for Natalya and Shayna, honestly. I mean, Natalya should be respected, and she's not. But yeah, let's move on. And this one went the way I did think it was going to. I saw Edge pulling this one out over AJ Styles.
Wait. You guys started talking and you skipped what I was about to say about the women here. If those girls were not involved in this tag match, where the fuck would they be? They can't be on a level with Charlotte and Becky and Belair and Rousey.
But Sasha is, though.
But they wouldn't have been, so they would have just been at home. So they had to make a match for for this talent.
Fair enough. For the bank account. For the bank account.
Give him a Royal Rumble. Give him a Battle Royal.
Battle Royal, yeah. Give them a women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania.
To get paid.
Maybe Dewdrop could have made it then. So anyway, we're going to AJ Styles and Edge, which I thought was going to be my favorite match of the weekend. Of course, it didn't make that because of Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins on night one. But this was a good match. It just wasn't the type of match that I was expecting. The chemistry between Edge and AJ that I expected was not necessarily the chemistry that I got.
I call these matches Chinese democracy matches. Now, that may be some inside baseball. If you know that Chinese democracy was the long-awaited Guns N' Roses record that took like fucking 15 years to come out, and it was supposed to be like the next, White Album, and it was just like, it's another Guns N' Roses record. This match, there was so much pressure on it that it could never be as good as we expected it to be, because we didn't even know who Seth Rollins was fucking wrestling, and that was the best match of the weekend. And we just thought, it's fucking AJ Styles and Edge. This is going to be a fucking 5-star all-timer. And it was like, it was just like a good match. But I don't know if they could have ever given the match of people like us want. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
It does make sense. And simply because I think that the match was really good. And by any other standard, this would have been a great match. But because it was AJ and Edge, and you expect an entire other level, you're disappointed, even with a 4-star match.
And see, wasn't this after the 4-way women's match?
It was.
That's a bad play. That's a black hole on the card. You motherfuckers were going to bathrooms and getting nachos. So like that crowd was dead. They were dead. So like when Cody came out, the crowd was fucking exploding, and it was still early on in WrestleMania weekend. They had to follow a Carmella Zelina match. They would have been better off being first. If that was the first match, I think it'd have been better.
Damian Priest didn't exactly get a huge pop when he showed up out of nowhere either.
Right?
Well, and that's the other thing. You're building Edge to be this massive, almost an Undertaker-like heel. And I think that there wasn't enough. Now, if you had the concerto back at the Royal Rumble, it was, what was that, like mid-March? That Edge comes out and challenges AJ and gives him the concerto. It wasn't really enough time to build up a grudge match type feel, or to firmly AJ hasn't been established as a face, or reestablished as a face long enough. I got a whole lot of didn't care because, Edge did the concerto, but you still kind of like Edge. He's still got that shine of being a face and being new back to the company, and you want to kind of like Edge based on his recent feuds. He's been with Almost for a year, and you've been booing him for a long time. So I know that people don't follow the face, heel, good guy, bad guy dynamic a whole lot, but I think that had a whole lot to do with why this match didn't meet expectations.
See, longest match of the weekend, 24 minutes.
Go ahead, Matt.
I just think that their chemistry was not there. I think that they're both great, like two of the best workers. But sometimes people just don't gel in the same way that you want them to. And I felt like same way. I would have said that this would have been the match of the weekend. And in watching it, it was just okay. I mean, I think that it just, even from the jump start of AJ cutting his face on the star, like it was like something was off.
What happened? What did that happen?
It was snake bit. Yeah, he came around the corner there, and that star, as it came down, I think he had like the hood in his face or something, but he turned around and he hit the corner of the star, which caused him to bleed right out the gate, right as he was walking out.
So he's coming to the ring like Necro Butcher. He's already bleeding on the way down, and it did throw you off. Because
I'm sure it threw him off. It probably threw him off. Like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it was a gash. Like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was a gusher. I was like, how'd you hit a gusher?
I wonder if he knew he was bleeding.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I bet you he knew he fucking clocked that thing though.
Yeah, he definitely knew that.
Until he's in the ring and he touches his face and looks at it, and I was like, "Oh man, that's not a great way to start out,"
But again, I think that if this would have been the first match, it would have been better because man,
they would have fed off the crowd better.
The crowd was dead, and that crowd kind of stayed dead for a while. I mean, that's how bad a bad match can do you. That shit is that four-way stuff. Y'all got to stop with that. That's a crowd killer. It destroyed. I think it's one of the reasons that the second night pales in comparison to the first night.
Well, yet again, another SmackDown. Should have been on SmackDown on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true. Adam Harris, where are we going next?
Do we even need to touch on Sheamus and Ridge Holland defeating the New Day in 1 minute and 40 seconds? What happened there?
Yeah, I think that was like, oh, we forgot to put that match on. It's already really late.
You guys are still here?
You guys are still here. Go on out there and do it for 1 minute and 40.
They were supposed to shoot that for Superstars. That was
the Superstars match.
Main event.
Yeah.
Shotgun Saturday night.
Yes. Stephen New's talking about matches that should have been on SmackDown. This one should have definitely been on Superstars. So let's go ahead to the next match.
Leading into probably the most memorable moment, and certainly even the people at my job are asking me about this match because Pat McAfee stole the show against Austin Theory. And then, of course, the McMahon craziness came after.
One, baby.
I have a big issue with the finisher. I wish it wouldn't have been a wacky roll-up. Man, he's got a legitimate finisher. He's a punter in the NFL and was the all-decade NFL punter. Let that motherfucker kick a man's head off and not just some, fluky roll-up. It's the one biggest thing I hate about it.
Hadn't the WWE banned that move?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to do it a long time.
You got to keep Theory strong, though. You can't have Theory taking a finisher right now. They're still going to keep building him. I'm not
disagreeing with you, Barker. I'd love to see Austin Theory got his head punted off the top of his shoulders up into the upper deck by Pat McAfee. But I believe that the answer to your question is I think the WWE has banned that maneuver.
Okay, because he teased it. At one point, he did tease it. No, he teased it in the match. Okay, he teased it in the match.
So this match was good. I was glad to see Pat McAfee doing his thing again. But what really was the shocker is when we seen Vince McMahon take his jacket off and he's ready to have a wrestling match in the ring in 2022. He's like 168 years old, and he is going to have a match with Pat McAfee, and he does it. We see Vince
He
McMahon
doesn't have a match. That's not a match.
Was there a referee?
Was there a ref?
He called to the bell ring. It was
there was bumps. There were bumps. There was a punt.
76 years old.
76 years old. Let me to this. Everything that is wrong with who and how this country is being ran is in this match. We got to quit with the octogenarians and the close to octogenarians running shit. And that's bipartisan. Both sides, bitches. So, and I'm telling you, dude, who's letting it? And that's a problem. You can't. Vince McMahon is the man who's never been told no in his whole life until he got out of the fucking.
Who's going to tell him no? I mean,
hopefully his kids. Hopefully the people who love him. You're going to go out there and kill yourself, old man.
No one can tell him.
They want that.
I think they all.
They want him to die right in the middle of the ring.
You think they were back there like divvying up the plots of land?
Wealthier.
Well,
got a whole lot wealthier.
Now, here's something to think about. You've already been, first of all, you're shocked by how awesome of a match we've seen with Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. And then, boom, we get shocked again with Vince McMahon. But we can't forget the big, big shocker. Stone Cold's back again.
You had to give both ticket holders Stone Cold both nights. That's a value thing. That's a ticket value thing.
But there are some things about Stone Cold's appearance that are really not that great. One is that awful stunner to Vince McMahon that looked like it broke him in half in a completely different direction.
So many people
never really been. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
Many people have rated the first Vince stunner that Stone Cold gave him, back in 97 or whatever, as the worst stunner of all time. And how
he topped it.
He topped it.
25 years later. 25 years later, he topped it.
Because, of course, he's going to top it. He's the oldest man to take it by 100. He's 76 years old. Are you kidding me?
It looked so bad. It looked so dangerous. So bad.
Did anyone see Mick Foley's video of him laughing? Yeah. It's like his son posted it, and it's like the most heartiest laugh. He's so happy because, let's be honest, Mick Foley's had some ups and downs with the man in the big office, right? And you could tell that he was really, what's that word, schadenfreude? He was really into the schadenfreude of how bad that fucking looked.
Was I the only
man truly looked scared to take it to me. I think that was like honest to God, and I mean it's working. Stone Cold isn't going to hurt him doing a stunner. But McMahon looked honest to goodness scared to take it to me.
He should be.
So Austin Theory took the stunner. Vince McMahon took the stunner.
Beautiful sell, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Austin Theory did a great job selling that stunner. Then we seen Pat McAfee get a stunner. And was I the only one that wanted to see Stone Cold stun the shit out of his own brother? I really wanted it.
I didn't even think about that.
Did too.
I expected it at that point.
I think that Pat McAfee's is one of the best sales of the stunner that I've ever seen. That was in like the cut back from Pat laying down drinking the beer.
Oh, it's so good.
That was classic.
Meme forever. It's like the classic moment of WrestleMania to me. That is the shit that why I love wrestling.
That picture of him drinking that beer on his back is the perfect, like, oh, I'm going to have one beer tonight. Me 6 hours. 6 hours later.
Right.
3 a.m.
And I have a conspiracy theory about this, since I'm the resident conspiracy theorist nut job. I'm not so sure if he was supposed to take that stunner. I think that Stone Cold was like, my last stunner isn't going to be that fucking shit that I just pulled on Vince McMahon. I think that he probably was like, hey, dog, you're going to take this motherfucker and you better make it look good because it's the last one I'm ever going to do. And that's something that Pat McAfee's going to have for the rest of his life.
Now, was that before the announcer? One of the announcers.
It was after. It was after, right? Byron wasn't the last one. Yeah, he was the last one.
His brother would have been the last stunner.
That's so good. I didn't even think about that.
It'd have been the best situation. Okay, next up, we're at the end, are we not?
Yeah. Next up is the let's see. Let me see if I can say it like Mike Rome did. Champion versus champion, winner take all, Universal Title Championship match.
I'm so glad you brought him up because I hate, and maybe it's because one of my best friends.
That was bad. I like Mike Rome, but
I don't. And
you're better than him.
You're better than him. And that's what I was going to say.
That's not what I'm trying to say.
That's not what
I am.
I'm saying it.
You're dude, you're already my friend. I don't have to lie to you. You're better than the fucking dapper yapper. He's embarrassing and cringy. This guy's not much better.
Yeah, what you said about him being very, very punchable, I could totally see it. He is so punchable.
In this fucking
but then I sympathize with the guy as a ring announcer because he got this. He had to say that stuff, but then Paul Heyman jerked the mic away from him, and then Brock Lesnar jerked the mic away from him.
Good.
So he didn't get to do any ring announcing for that match, man.
Good.
So Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. How many minutes did that go?
Not long.
12 minutes and 15 seconds.
12 minutes and 15 seconds of Brock versus Roman, and we got exactly what I wanted, which was Roman taking both belts. But we did see an arm injury that looked kind of nasty. I was kind of wondering if Roman was going to just, give up the title on Monday Night Raw because he had to take some time off because of that. I guess that's not the case. But Matt Mullins, all in all, what did you think about this match?
Great. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought that Brock suplexed the shit out of him. Looked safely even. Roman took him great. Paul's facials are the best in the business.
I love you.
I mean, Casey, my girlfriend was watching with me, and I could tell she kind of eye rolled at my tribal chief, but I was like, that's the shit I love, my tribal chief. I'm sorry, like very, very reminiscent of Paul Bear, like
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Parker, what did you think about this match?
Man, I was a little disappointed. I wanted a longer match. Look, it's goddamn, you're the main event of the main event of the main of fucking event. And dude, I think maybe it got cut short because he was hurt. I don't know. But I need a 20-minute WrestleMania match at least. And it just felt like it's over. Just like it wasn't. And maybe this is another Edge versus AJ situation, but we've seen the match a bunch. This isn't even close to the best match these two has had at all. They've had way better matches than this. They had better matches than this back when Roman was the fucking babyface. I don't know, man. It was I felt let down. A little blowjob with teeth, if you know what I'm saying. Just little.
See, I disagree. I disagree with that because having been present for the beach ball match in New Orleans, I quite liked this match. I liked all of the false finishes. It's plausible that the ending was cut short due to Roman's what looks to be a nasty tricep tear. But I did like the false finishes and that kind of stuff. The multiple spears, multiple F5s, multiple Superman punches, some of which look weak. But I liked the match. Between jamming some of the crap on that we've talked about tonight that should have been, SmackDown, if they could have had a 30-minute match, it should have been a 25 or 30-minute match.
That's what I wanted because it's a 12-minute horse battle, so it's slow and it's plotting and it's not a whole bunch of string together moves like say a Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. So when it's such a slow plotting big man match, 12 minutes really seems not a long time because there wasn't really a bunch of moves done. Because it's a take your time, you're doing maximum damage with your big huge moves, and those 12-minute versions of those horse battles like that seem short. Like those kind of big, larger than life people, you need like 25 minutes of disastrous violence.
How many
to learn to believe that one of those guys would lose.
You're in double digits of suplexes, weren't we?
Yeah, but I mean, he's done that like in the first 2 minutes of almost many matches. I wanted it to be better because I love Brock Lesnar. I think Brock Lesnar is slowly with this last run, with this like happy Viking cowboy thing. How is a smiling Brock Lesnar scarier than a scowling Brock Lesnar? You know what I mean? I think he's cementing himself, and he doesn't give a shit because if you watch his Pat McAfee interview, he said he don't give a fuck about the Hall of Fame. He's there to get paid and to entertain. He's so good, man. And good. I ranted about this. Roman Reigns, man, look. You got to sell for a motherfucker. Brock Lesnar sold like a motherfucker for Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns did not give him much. He was Hulk Hogan selling, man. And Brock Lesnar does not get enough credit for when he respects somebody like Samoa Joe or Kurt Angle or fucking Roman Reigns. He's Ricky Morton into that motherfucker, man. Brock Lesnar sold and made him and, gave him the credibility of beating a former UFC world champion who had himself beaten 3 other UFC world champions. And he sold like crazy, like mad. And I was saying it in our chat. Roman pissed me off in this match because he was up. He took like 5 Germans and was just up Young Buck style. Like he was like Road Warrior Buck and just like shucked 5 fucking Germans, man. I'm glad I remembered that.
I think it was putting him over. I think that was Roman being like, I'm the man that can beat Brock Lesnar. That's where I'm at on that.
Yeah, it's actually called God mode.
There you go.
That's the term. Adam Harris, did you catch this match?
I did. I thought it was good, man. I really did. This was all it needed to be for me. I don't think it needed to be 25 minutes, man. I don't agree with that at all. I think it was I think a lot of people said it was shorter. I was not disappointed by the length. You haven't seen Brock pull off the Kimura lock for a long time. He hasn't used that hold. And so that to me was the big moment. The desperation thing was like, I've got to tap him out. And they did that great. The selling the injury, whether it was legit or not, Roman did a very small detail, and this is one of the ones that makes him God mode, is pulling the arm out, making it visible to where he was, in theory, throwing his shoulder back into place after having it in the Kimura, so he could hold both belts high above his head. Man, I am Roman Reigns. I'm on the Roman Reigns train, brother.
Me too. And the big thing here and the big takeaway is WrestleMania was not a disappointment, even though we thought it was. Mullins, did you have something else to say before we get out of here?
No, I was pointing.
No, we were just.
Day one ish. That's where we're at.
I can admit when I need to eat the crow, and I eat the crow.
Yeah.
I think that it was great. It was a
great WrestleMania. I give WrestleMania 4.5 stars. I would give it 5, but Stone Cold didn't stun his fucking brother, and that's what I was looking at.
That would have been, man, I didn't even think about it. That's genius. That's such a genius thing. God, it'd be good.
If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you click subscribe. If you are listening on one of our podcast platforms, which are any of the podcast platforms where awesome podcasts are found, because we are indeed awesome.
Tell us your worst WrestleMania of all time in the comments section. Let's see.
Yeah. Why it isn't WrestleMania 9, because WrestleMania 9 was great. I don't
come at me with that.
It's the worst one, baby.
It's not. I watched WrestleMania 9 so many times that the tape got thin and broke. It just got played so many times.
Did you not have any other VCR tapes? Was that the only one you had?
No, it was just my favorite. It was my favorite one. All right, so we've had a great time reviewing WrestleMania, and we will be back here on the House of Kayfabe's Superior Radio Network channel on YouTube and any of the platforms that we are on. So make sure you keep it locked right here on the Kayfabe stream. We'll be back next time on the House of Kayfabe.
Hi. That was great. You gotta
hi, buddy.
It's a hi.
You better leave that on there, Resner.
So good for an hour. He's been sitting here.
Hi, buddy.
Finally, a special guest on this
show.
Steve
New, you got to get your gear set up, dude.
Talk to him.
Hi. You got to, because man, there's
times.
Times where you drop all the way out, and I have to go in and try to take that one section and boost the shit out of it. You got to get your shit set back up.
I've got a trial next week, and as soon as I can get this trial behind me, I'll get my stuff set back up. I'm sorry.
Okay. I do. That's fine. It just puts I have to do a little bit more, but I want to make sure that everything gets fucking put in there.
All right, guys. I gotta jump off here. Gotta go to bed. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Bye. I'll see you all.
Fellas. Bye, buddy.
Bye, buddy. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.